This is Mark Bell, and I'm on my 10-minute walk. What I wanted to talk to you about today is how to get started on a carnivore diet. I really appreciate everyone that's jumped in. I'm on day number 10 myself of World Carnivore Month. It is January 10, 2020. Now, it sounds like a dumb question, really, if you think about it. How do I get started on an all-meat diet? Because the answer is to only eat meat, right? We're eating meat and we're eating eggs. But there's a lot of questions that pop up. Hey, Mark Bell, is it bad to eat vegetables? Hey, what about having some fruit? Like, don't I need to have fruit and vegetables? There's a lot of people asking a lot of questions out there, and there's a lot of people that are really questioning the science of primarily eating meat. But it's really been if you go back to our ancestors, I mean, they basically proved that this diet works really well. Otherwise, none of us would be here. We really do thrive when we lean into eating red meat. Now, how do you get started? I think one of the hardest things about getting started for people is the monotony of being tied down to just meat. The second thing that I think is hard for people to adjust to, or a block that people have in their head, is the fact that, I know that meat costs a lot more than cereal at the grocery store, and so I don't think I can afford to do that diet. So I always feel that that's kind of an excuse, because keep in mind that when you embrace this style of diet, when you embrace this style of living, you're going to no longer be buying a lot of extra crap. You're not going to be buying a lot of extra stuff. You're primarily just focused in on the meat, and you might be buying like a couple other things like bone broth and eggs, but buy your meat in bulk. Go to Costco, go to Sam's Club, get involved in one of those giant superstores and get your meat from there. A lot of people do it. Makes it super convenient, makes it super easy. But this is no different than many other things in life. If you want to get started, you got to just get started. And I personally in my life have never asked anyone how to get started on anything. I always just started. Now, I will back that up by saying that I have a really awesome family, a really super supportive family, and I grew up in a big family as well. And so when it came to learning how to throw a baseball, or it came to learn how to throw a football, I did it by doing. And I'm still that way to this day. I'm somebody that if I'm going to learn something, I have to actually do it. I have to actually sit through it, and I gotta spend some time in that space. And I think a lot of you are probably the same. If you want to learn and you want to know how to get started on a carnivore diet, then you have to start it, and you have to start it now. And you got to start heading in that direction. The very definition of success is knowing where you are, knowing where you want to go, and moving towards that goal. That's it. That's how simple success really is. And everyone tries to make it out to be this really complicated thing. Why am I talking about success in the confines of a carnivore diet? Well, it's very simple. Because I want you to be successful. I want you to be nutritionally sound, and I want you to feel good. I'm hoping that you guys can feel the way that I feel each and every day. I just started running. I did a 10-minute walk yesterday. And the 10-minute walk, out of the door of SuperTraining gym, I just bolted out of there. And I ran the whole damn mile. I just ran the whole thing. Now, that might not sound like a lot to you guys, but Mark Smelly Bell ain't no runner. I'm a powerlifter. So that was a little challenging for me, but I did it in about 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And I don't have any previous running experience. And I realize that that's not fast, but it's fast for me, and it's a good thing for me because, again, remember what I just said. I know where I'm at. I know where I want to go, and I'm moving towards that. I've been doing these 10-minute walks for a really long time, and the 10-minute walks is what helped lead to this run. But in addition to that, it's the style of diet, the carnivore diet, eating meat heals. In addition to that, I'm also utilizing a lot of intermittent fasting, which I encourage all of you to do too, except for some of you that might be brand new to the diet. I don't want you to worry about intermittent fasting if you're just joining in. However, if you've been doing it for a few weeks and you understand how to diet already, then I would love to see you do some intermittent fasting, a minimum of 16 hours every single day. how to get started on this diet. It's a diet that involves some intermittent fasting, and it's a diet that also involves a lot of dedication and adherence to predominantly just eating red meat and eggs, right? Which gets to be very difficult. So what I would say for getting started would be, let's forget about the fasting for a second, even though it's part of my challenge. Forget about the fasting for a second, because this is about getting started. So that means that you're a white belt at this. Now we're going to flip things around a little bit, and we're going to say, I want you to eat meat, I want you to eat eggs, I want you to eat bone broth, I want you to eat butter, and I want you to eat as much as you possibly want and as much as you possibly can. And I want you to work on doing that for about 2 weeks. That is how you get started on a carnivore diet. And you know what else? That is how you end up landing on intermittent fasting. Because trust me when I tell you this, and you can try this on yourself, when you start to eat lean cuts of meat, now the fattier meats are a little different, but the leaner cuts of meat, when you start to primarily eat protein, it will shut down your ability to eat like a damn grizzly bear. It will really slow you down in your tracks. I swear to God it will. And it might not do it on day 1, and it might not do it on day 3, but it will catch up to you over a period of time. Whenever you're hungry, rather than thinking about like, oh, I'm going to cook up like 3 eggs, cook up 8, cook up 6, cook up a large portion of food. Really smash the ever-living crap out of it, because you're going to need these nutrients. You're going to need a lot of this to suppress the previous cravings that you've had. And if you're not actually hungry for the food, then you will know that you have fake hunger going on in your body, which a lot of us are getting hit with throughout the day, every single day. Fake hunger and fake cravings. You don't need the food. You certainly don't need a Snickers bar, but it does taste delicious, right? You're getting nailed by fake hunger all the time. To make sure that you don't fall into that trap and to get started on your carnivore diet, make sure that you're stuffing yourself with the food. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolute gluttonous attack on food, but I really want you to get after it. I really want you to eat multiple times a day. Once you get past that time period, which is about 2 weeks, and by the way, 14 days, 2 weeks is very, very difficult for people to survive. Having people adhere to something for 2 straight weeks and to do it every single day, and not only every single day, in this case it's multiple times a day because we're talking about eating, is very brutal. And how do I know that? I know that through firsthand experience of being a failure myself many, many times on many different styles of diets. I have failed many, many times on many different styles of diets because trying to do it day in and day out and trying to do it at every meal is a pain in the balls. It's really, really hard, but I promise you what lies on the other side of that is going to be worth it. What did I say earlier about moving towards your goal? You know where you're at. You know where you want to go. Now we're going to figure out steps and ways to move there. So the steps and ways to move there when it comes to diet, and it comes to nutrition, is to start out with some overeating. And I know some people are going to flame me on this. There's already some videos circulating out there right now. I ain't going to mention any names because I ain't going to hype people up that aren't really worth a damn in this space. But there's people that are already flaming a lot of this talk. But you know what? This is going to be the same. I apologize to a lot of people out there that think I'm doing the fitness community an injustice. I apologize to everyone that is not as up to speed and up to date as I am, and the people out there that don't communicate with the people that I communicate with every single day. If you talk to the people that I talk to, and if you had a better understanding of the stuff that I have an understanding of, then you would be thinking these same exact thoughts that I'm thinking right now. And I know it's revolutionary, and I know it's a little different, but I didn't make a lot of this stuff up. Dr. Baker is someone that has brought a lot of this to the forefront, and I credit him as being the godfather of steak, the godfather of the carnivore diet, and I appreciate all the work that he's done and all the work he's put in. But if you don't believe me on certain things, and if the science doesn't seem like it stacks up, from me, another great way to get started is for you to do your own investigation. Investigate a little bit, rather than just shouting out haphazardly on my Instagram, hey, what about your cholesterol? Why don't you learn a little bit more about what cholesterol actually is? And why don't you learn more about cholesterol and triglycerides, and how that can negatively impact heart disease, or how it maybe doesn't have an impact at all on heart disease. These are all things that I think you need to investigate for yourself. we're here today at day number 10 of World Carnivore Month, and I think it's important that I continue to share out. There's a lot of success stories that are going on around me, but I want to give a shout out to my mother-in-law, Sherry. She's doing such a great job on her diet. She's been sticking with it for 10 straight days, and she has removed all of her medications. I think the only medication that she's on a thyroid medication, but she's had diabetes for the last 7 years. She's a thin woman. She's in great shape. So this is not a body composition thing. This is a health related thing. But the only way that you're going to attack insulin resistance, there's not a drug in the world that will attack diabetes in the right way. There's not a drug in the world that will attack diabetes in the right way. I'll say it again. There's not a drug in the world that will attack diabetes in the right way. But you know what will attack diabetes in the right way? Your own body, your own human body. Just by simply not eating, by utilizing some intermittent fasting, she has attacked this quite a bit. In addition to that, her resting glucose is down, I think, to around 90. That's still a little high, especially first thing in the morning. But man, it's only been 10 days. Additionally, I'm a huge proponent that meat heals. I really do believe a lot of what Dr. Baker says about how meat heals a lot of ailments for a lot of people. There's just too much evidence out there of these people that are doing so great and thriving on it. It's like one person after another with some sort of skin disease, or somebody with severe acne. You'll have somebody with, just flat out obesity. You have high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, anxiety, depression. The list of things go on and on. The carnivore diet has saved my brother's life. My brother was done. My brother was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and switching over to this diet has helped forever change his mindset. And when you start to lose weight and you start to get in better shape, it gives you something to believe in, because you can't even believe in yourself until you're something. You need to be something in this world in order to believe in yourself enough to continue to move forward and enough to love other people. How are you going to love and appreciate other people if you don't have a good love and understanding for your own self? You want to talk about self-love? There's a way to do it right there. Start to figure out a way to get yourself in better shape and figure out how to become a bigger success. So there you go. There's your tips on how to get started on the carnivore diet. Also, make sure your food is delicious. Like, learn how to cook, man. Grab a hold of a cookbook. I'm not a great cook. My cooking skills are very, very, they're shitty. Like, I'm a white belt when it comes to cooking. However, I know how to cook meat to my liking. I know how to get it just perfect for the way that I like. And I don't think a lot of people can say this, but I can honestly say this. I've eaten a lot of food from a lot of different places. I've been to some really expensive restaurants. I've had a $300 piece of steak before, like all kinds of weird, crazy stuff, over the top stuff, right? But some of the best meals I've ever had were cooked by myself. Not to insult Andy Bell at all, my wifey. She cooks great meals as well. But this is, just because you're on a diet doesn't mean you have to eat disgusting stuff. And this is another thing that can really help you get started on a carnivore diet. Learn how to prep your food. Learn how to cook it. I'm going to give you a couple of really simple tips right now. Step number 1, take your meat out of the fridge. Let it sit on the counter for about 20 minutes. You're trying to get the meat to be more like room temperature. Once the meat is room temperature, while the meat's getting to room temperature, make sure that you have a hot enough, whatever the hell it is you're going to cook it in, stove, grill, or whatever. Make sure that gets up to the maximum heat that it needs to in order to prep this piece of steak properly. Also, while the meat is out, throw some salt on there. Let that salt get into the meat. By doing that in advance for about 20 minutes, you're going to really notice a huge difference in the flavor of the meat. And then also learn how to cook the meat to your liking. You can actually buy like electronic thermometers nowadays, and it will tell you when your meat's done. You don't even have to try to guess. You don't have to try to figure out like what the touch is or whatever. For me, I can kind of tell just by poking my fingers at it. Somebody told me kind of a long time ago that this guy right here, I believe, this is well done, medium well. I'm going by the consistency and hardness of right here. and this is kind of more like medium, and this is medium rare, and then rare is like you just barely cook it at all. But see that little squishiness in the fat little thumb there? See that? You know, these thumbs are not as jacked as they used to be. I don't play video games as much as I used to. I need to, man. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Thank you guys so much for following along. I really appreciate it. We're talking a lot about fasting. You can check out some of my other videos. We're talking a lot about carnivore. Make sure that you're following along with this is really important to me, that you guys are following along with my vlog. Make sure you're following along with that every single day. I'm recording stuff every single day. I'm recording stuff every single day. It's not for shits and giggles. It's not for no reason. It's for you guys. I'm providing it for you guys because it means that much to me. It matters that much to me. You mean that much to me. I have respect for you, and I'm glad that you guys come here and listen. I really, really do appreciate it. Pumping out videos for the entire month on World Carnivore Month, so make sure you check out that vlog. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.